Alright, Arrow fans, time to take a look at the second episode of the day, which is The Brave and the Bold. And yes, I know technically it is the second part of the Flash vs. Arrow crossover, but hey, since I'm looking at the shows in order, well, there you go. So yeah, anyway, let's get to it. Oliver, Dick, and Roy are at a location that is owned by the mysterious man. Both Aaron and Roy shoot at the bombs inside the home, but we're going inside and learn that Argus was there as the Boomerang Man killed an Argus agent. Despite being told to let it go, Arrow doesn't. Heading back to the foundry, Felicity tells them who the victim was. In flashback, Oliver's called by Waller to find out information about bombs by torturing the guy. The next day, Felicity receives a visit from Cisco and Kaylin, who wanted to see the foundry, so she brings them there. Dick approaches Lila for information. At the same time, the man shows up at Argus using the dead guy's ID. He then injures a security guard. Lila tells Dick that it's handled until the alarm went off. The man is killing multiple men. Dick calls Oliver and tells him to go, but Kaylin thinks that they won't get there in time. Dick and Lila are in a gunfight. Thea's on her cell when the Flash sped by. Oliver and Rory are fighting the man when the Flash shows up to help causing the man to realize he is outnumbered and leaves. In the foundry, Barry's showing off when he speeds off for sushi. Lila then shows up when Barry returns and reveals his identity to Lila. Barry then helps fix the boomerangs up. Upon learning who made the boomerang, they had to talk to Lance. After learning that the man is connected to the Bradva, the team had to talk to the Bradva. Oliver begins to torture the guy for information, surprising Barry. Barry got upset about it. Barry then brings the guy to Lance before returning and talking to Oliver about his tactics. When Oliver talks about his tragedies, Barry mentions about seeing his mother die. Oliver then tells him if his way is too hard that he knows his way home. In the foundry, Lyle approaches Oliver to talk about his relationship with Barry. In the past, Oliver grabs his bow and arrow and the guy he's supposed to torture mocks him. However, he's chilling to get answers as the bomb goes off in the distance. Dick, Cisco, and Roy are driving together discussing the meta-human issue. Cisco, however, brings up Lila's Dick's wife, to which Roy and Dick says that she isn't the wife. Oliver and Barry arrive at the location and they learn that Dicker isn't there but left behind a phone. In the foundry, Lila learns that Dicker found them, so Lila pulls out a gun and begins shooting at Harkness. Felicity grabs a bomb but doesn't throw it until after Lila is hit by Boomerang. Felicity is freaking out that Lila isn't breathing. Dick shows up along with the others, and Dick asks Barry to take Lila to a hospital. In flashback, Oliver learns from Waller that he must cultivate his skills in torture. Above in Verdant, Cisco and Felicity are hanging out with Thea brought them drinks. Roy thanks Thea for the night off. Cisco asks who Thea is, and she learns that she is Roy's ex and Oliver's sister. Kaylin then shows up. The Star Labs employees worry about her they are not taken it seriously as they give their bad guys nicknames. Barry and Oliver talk about how he's trading pieces of himself to torture people. Barry tells him that he's full of crap and that Oliver is still human due to his experiences. Felicity then enters and tells them where Harkness is. He happens to be at a train station. Barry and Oliver head there, with Flash removing the innocent people before they talk to the man. He tells them that he had planted bombs around the city and gives them 90 seconds for the bombs. Flash rushed off where Oliver stayed behind. Oliver hits Harkness and Flash has to figure out what to do with the bomb. Barry grabs Roy and puts him in front of one of the bombs and does the same with Caitlin, Felicity, and Cisco. Oliver and the captain are surprised when they stop the bombs. Flash shows up and Oliver doesn't kill the man but stops him from surprising him with an arrow in the back. Dick is at the hospital and Lila wakes up and calls her sweetie. He asks her to marry him, to which she says yes. They kiss briefly. Aww. Caitlin promises to send them the results of the arrow that shot Sarah. Barry and Oliver return to find out that Cisco had Oliver made a new costume that was better material, along with Barry having a place for his uniform for when he's in town. They promise to do something, just the two of them, before Barry leaves town. In flashback, Waller gives Oliver a second chance with the person who works with China White. He's told he gets redemption with the man. Barry and Oliver head out alone to fight each other in a friendly fight. Barry tells Oliver that he can inspire people as himself. So now let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. The episode's title, The Brave and the Bold, is a reference to a number of DC comic book series which featured superhero team-ups. The Brave and the Bold's most notable characters were Batman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and The Flash. When Oliver and Barry meet Captain Lance, he mistaken him for to Barry as Bart Allen. This refers to Bart Allen, Barry's grandson in the comics, who becomes a speedster himself and uses the monikers Impulse, Kid Flash, and the Flash. After the fight between Oliver and Barry about their different methods, Lilas, Oliver, P, and Speedy are alright. Oliver says, "What, Roy? Yeah, we're fine." This refers to Roy being the original Speedy before becoming Arsenal in the comics. However, in Arrow, the only person to be officially codenamed Speedy is Theo Queen, who was Roy's successor in the comics. Roy's successor in the role in the comics. This is the only Arrow part of a crossover that includes the flashback storyline. The final showdown between Barry and Oliver is a reference to Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed's final showdown in Rocky III. The spar that occurs between Barry and Oliver at the end of the episode is cut short without revealing its outcome. 2 years later, it was revealed at the end of the DC's Legends of Tomorrow episode Invasion that Barry won. However, according to Oliver, it didn't count because there were no witnesses. Director Harkness is said to be locked up on Lian Yu with Slade Wilson, which is later referenced in The Return and in Season 5's Lian Yu. Felicity's comment that Oliver does the Salmon Ladder at least every Wednesday is a reference to the fact that Arrow aired new episodes on Wednesday at the time. Harkness is located at the corner of Infantino and Adams. Carmine Infantino and Neil Adams were some of the most influential artists of The Flash and The Green Arrow, respectively. They both have also worked on the book The Brave and the Bold, the namesake of this episode. Now finally, let's take a look at some goofs. When Lila's shooting Harkness with a handgun, it looks like a 9mm with a clip that holds about 15 rounds. However, Lila fires at least 29 times without reloading. While Cisco is communicating with the others before defusing the bombs, Felicity seems to have a Bluetooth headset to get orders. So overall, I think this episode is pretty darn good, and yeah, like I said, I'll be talking about the first part of the crossover when I eventually get to look at The Flash, which I know sounds a little bit confusing, but like I said, I'm looking at these shows in order of when they aired and stuff like that, so there you go. But yeah, anyway. So overall, I give The Brave and the Bold 4 arrowheads out of 5. When I tune in as we take a look at the final episode of the day, The Climb. So until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.